And welcome to another edition of Ducks No Source. This week, oh baby, it's finally here. The 2012 CFL playoffs that get kicked off this Sunday. Should be an interesting one because I love the CFL playoffs because it's the unpredictability that makes it great. Because you look in this year, be unpredictable than ever before, as I believe all 6 teams going in really have a shot. Even the Edmonton Eskimos, I think, might even have a shot at the Holy Grail of the Grey Cup. So it should be an interesting few weeks. But we'll start with our first matchup this week, as the Edmonton Eskimos, who just squeaked into the playoffs, travel to the Toronto Argonauts, who are playing pretty well right now. But we'll start with the Edmonton Eskimos. Interesting week last week for the Edmonton Eskimos, as they clinched their playoff berth on the Friday night. The next day, fired their GM Eric Tillman, who in my opinion, hands down, is the best GM in the CFL, maybe next to Jim Pop. I mean, this guy really knows how to build teams. Built the Rough Rider team. Has built the Edmonton Eskimo team. Built the Argonauts back in the day. Very good GM. Very interesting move, as it sounds like both seems like Eric Tillman want to go one way and the team want to go the other. And it sounds like he might be the next GM of the Toronto Argonauts, but that's more of something that's going to probably happen in the offseason. But interesting move because the Edmonton Eskimos, to me, they're not a good team, no, but I wouldn't say they're a bad team. As when you got a defense that good, I mean, such a great defense, can get after the passer, can pick the balls off. I mean, the start of the season, they were just unstoppable. In my opinion, still clearly are the best defense in the CFL. But their defense hasn't been the problem this year. It's been their offense and their lack thereof all year long, as they got in the quarterback position. They've just gone through a bunch of guys. Matt Nichols, their third stringer, playing well the last few weeks. Really kept them in a lot of games, brought them back in a few games, especially last week against the Stamps. But for this game, they decided to start Kerry Joseph. An interesting story week, but they're going to go with Kerry Joseph this week. To me, I would have gone with a young kid because there's just something special about a young QB in this league right now. I mean, you have Taden out in Calgary, Lule out in BC. And it just seems like everybody's getting a young, good QB these days. And I would have started Matt Nichols because I think he could be the next great QB. Maybe not the next. Not the next great QB, but I think could be a good QB. Might have a better chance because for the Edmonton Eskimos to win this game, they need to run the football like no tomorrow, and their defense is gonna have to play outstanding, which I think it can. But you're playing a team in the Toronto Argonauts who are playing pretty well the last couple of weeks. As in my opinion, the Toronto Argonauts are going to the Grey Cup and are the best team in the East. They're playing that good, and on offense, they're getting it done. Ricky Ray is gonna be back this week. This is why they brought Ray in, not to look good in the regular season, to take them and win a Grey Cup. This is why I brought Ricky Ray in, and this is his time of year, as he is one of the more clutch quarterbacks in the history of the CFL. And a team that can still run the ball. Cutting Boyd halfway through the season with questionable moves, but it's been anything but questionable since they come, as this team seems to gel a lot better without him. And on the defense side of the ball, Chris Jones has this team playing hard, and I really like the way this team plays defense. They really get after the passer. They just fly the ball very interesting way. They play defense, and I think that'll be the difference this one, is because I just didn't think Edmonton won't be able to score enough points, and I think Toronto Argonauts with Chad Owens and the rest of them, great. An offense is slowly but surely turning to a good offense. And Chad Owens, led by Chad Owens, who in my opinion is the MVP in the CFL this year. And I just think that'll be the difference, because a good offense versus a good defense, but that team that also has a good offense also has a good defense in Toronto Argonauts. And I think the Toronto Argonauts win this game on Sunday and go on to Montreal to play the Alouettes next week. And our final matchup, Saskatchewan traveling to Cowtown to take on the Calgary Stampeders. Interesting year for Saskatchewan. Pretty much an elevator type year, if you will, as they went up and they went down. Then they went up, then they went down. But in the end of the season, they were going up. So in theory, shouldn't this game, shouldn't they go down? Anything interesting to think about, as this team, on any given day, I think this team could beat any team in the CFL. That's how good they can be at times. and the Saskatchewan Roughriders playing well. Durant hasn't had a great year, but when he's in there the last couple of weeks has been sharp, been pretty good, and they could be a dangerous team. Not a lot of people were talking about the Rough Riders going in to the playoffs, but I really think the Rough Riders can be that dark horse to win the Grey Cup. I think they're playing that well right now. And on defense, just like Toronto Argonauts, fly the ball. They're a very, very well-coached team, and a team that doesn't make mental mistakes, a team that doesn't really shoot themselves in the foot that much. I really believe in Saskatchewan Roughriders. They've won some close games this year. They've won some surprising games this year. And they're playing a team in Calgary who, in my opinion, might be the best team in the CFL right now. I mean, you have a guy in who they're going to start Drew Tate this year. Drew Tate this game, which I think is the right choice. I know Kevin Glenn's been going to get done this year, but for this team to win a Grey Cup and to beat a team like a BC, they're going to need Drew Tate on his game. As they can run the football, no doubt. Like, John Cornish is one hell of a back, and I really like the way he's played this year. Probably the best Canadian back that we've seen in a long, long time. And I think Drew Tate will probably be handing the ball off to him a lot this game. But remember, Drew Tate, I'm a big Drew Tate fan. I think he's really the next star in the CFL, the next great QB. I know Lule has played great BC the last couple years, and no doubt he's one of the best. But I think Drew Tate has the ability to be better because he can get first downs with his legs and his arm. Very, very impressive. Really love the way Drew Tate plays. But when this comes down to, it's going to be a tight game. I think this will be a field goal type game, but I just think with Drew Tate starting, with John Cornish there, and all their weapons on the outside, I think will just be too much for the Rough Riders to handle. And a playoff game, a young, inexperienced team, and the Rough Riders probably going on the road in a playoff game may not know the intensity of a CFL playoff game, and I think the Calgary Stampeders come away in this one and go on to BC to play the BC Lions next week, which truly will be better than the Grey Cup. Well, that's it for this time, but make sure you tune in next week, because next week I will be previewing the East and West Finals. Should be good, as I expect. Should be Montreal and Toronto, and Calgary and BC. If that happens, I think there'll be a great weekend of football. But till next time, I'm Aaron Duxbury saying I'm Dux, and I know sports.